All right.
Well, hello, Facebook. From Veterans Ellie Deepas, media producer. Ellie.
Hello. I have to say you are cutting in and out a bit.
Hopefully the restream still works. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm going to keep talking.
We can hear you now.
See
Sounding
that Ellie
good now.
might be frozen for right now. So we're going to try something new today. For those of you who may be joining us, you may have heard that we're doing an in-person event, the first in-person event that we are
Sean, you are muted. There we go.
Can you hear us now?
We can hear you now.
I used to be young once.
Hi, Dan.
I'm
how are
taking
you?
pictures for your dad
She
as
says,
well.
"Hi, Dan. How are you?"
Okay, honey.
We're trying this restream, so we're gonna stream this like we did, for the last year and a half.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna do in person and online.
I'll tell you what, Ellie, I'll send you pictures and videos while I'm here. Okay, and you do whatever you do with them.
That sounds great.
I'll go sit down and do it now.
There we go.
Sounds great. All right, you cut out a bit
technical
there, Sean, but now you're back.
Okay, maybe as you can see, if our audience is tuning in, this is our first to try to do a hybrid of online Zoom as well as in person. So we are at 2 Mile Run in Beaver County, which is about an hour northwest of Pittsburgh. I actually grew up here in this parking lot area. Didn't really grow up in the parking lot, but so we're trying a hybrid model, which means that we might experience a little more technical difficulties than we normally do. We have a hotspot we're working from, and there are a lot of cell phones here, so it's possible we might get some interference. But what we're going to do is we're going to go around. I'm going to talk to some veterans here, just like we've done for the last year. And we're going to start the program, the actual in-person program at 11:30. So you'll be able to view that here on Zoom and on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you for joining us. And let's get right to it. I'm going to jump right into here. Let's see if we can get in here. You're also going to be in person with the camera here. Eugene, how are you? Good. I'm going to come over to you. Do you remember Ellie?
Who?
Do you remember Ellie, Todd's daughter?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Eugene.
She's writing.
She says hi.
She's writing the book.
She's right there on the.
Yeah, she's right here.
I know, but she's writing the book.
Yes.
Hi, Gene.
How
How
are
are
you doing?
you?
Well, I could be a lot better.
Yeah?
I just got hospital for 14 days.
Why is that?
Well, I got a urine. This was for rehab.
Okay.
But I have a urinary infection. Yes.
Yeah.
I've been 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I went in. I was plugged up. I couldn't feel.
Oh, man.
Now it gets now.
Okay.
So we went to another appointment. Went to an appointment yesterday, and we got another appointment next week one day.
Okay. So immunotherapy. Okay. Right. When is your 95th birthday?
Monday.
Monday is your 95th birthday. Well, happy early birthday.
Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
Fantastic. Congrats.
And I wanted to be with this out in the hospital. I want to feed it. So Cheryl brought me.
Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl, for bringing.
I'll wear my uniform.
Love the uniform. Love it. And Eugene, you are U.S. Navy, and what years?
Well, 43 or 46.
43 to 46. So right near the end of the war, right?
Near the end, yeah.
Yeah. Where were you deployed to?
I was 13 months in Shanghai, China.
13 months. Yeah. In Shanghai.
Yeah.
How was it there?
Well, I didn't do nothing because I was busy all the time.
Right.
I carried a cook's rating, but I wasn't no cook. I had to give them officers and petty officers. I had to give them the food. Everyone's, you think book work, that's a lot of book work.
Yeah.
Anyhow, when I went in and took that job in 1943, I was on about 68 cents a day.
68 cents a day?
68 cents a day.
That's about what I'm getting per hour here.
So we worked down. I had good looks at it. People just buy up a case of it. So you take your paper.
Oh, there's an announcement. Can you hear that, Ellie?
I can.
Ellie, can you hear him?
I can.
We're getting some feedback.
And 4 days. The first order of business, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Todd DiPastino. I'm the Executive Director of the Veterans Breakfast Club. We have several board members here and volunteers who are part of the Veterans.
Thank you for your patience with these connectivity issues. Sean, you are muted.
Everyone gets.
Can you hear Todd?
Not very well.
Okay, we're going to line up. And the line is going to start at that door. Andrea
Sounds
is going
good
to be
now.
the doorkeeper.
Okay.
And she's going to make sure that the Marines wait for everybody else to go, right? Well, I'm just happy that only 2 of you have made fun of my pink pants. One of them was a Marine. So, okay, so we're gonna you go in through this door, and then you could there's a buffet, and then you go out the side door, and then you can pick your drink, and then you can come back and sit down and eat. All right. Do we need to go table by table? Yes. That would be the best way to go. Yes. Let's go with the back table first. The back 2 tables.
Luck of the draw. How you doing, Glenn?
Never met you before.
I know, right? Great. Yeah. So we're doing the hybrid model today. So you can see Ellie here.
Hi, Ellie. How you doing?
Hello,
Can
Glenn.
she hear me?
She can, yeah. Through this little makeup muffin thing I have.
Neat.
It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
In person. Wow.
I know it's
Yeah.
been.
You're tall. I didn't know
You know, that's the thing that most people have realized about me. They're like, "Wow, you're so much taller than I thought you were from on screen."
You look like you're 5'4" on screen.
Sometimes I wish I was.
You're
I
taller
know.
than me. You must be 6'2" or 3".
Yeah, 6'2". Yeah. Oh yeah, this has been a lot of fun so far. It's just everybody's, having a good time, getting reacquainted.
Now, did you have any in-person before, when you joined? Was there
Right.
in-person before the COVID started?
I only attended. I attended probably 15 or 20 events for BBC, and then I was on FMLA taking care of my newborn daughter when the pandemic hit, and then transitioned over to BBC June 1st of last year. So this is my first in-person as a BBC employee. Yeah.
That is pretty neat. Yeah, it's very interesting to see.
I know, and I love trying this hybrid model here.
Yeah.
As our audience who might be tuning into YouTube and Facebook right now, Glenn is the host of our Greatest Generation Live program. Do we have any Greatest Generation Live programs coming up?
We do. That would be me. These things never stick.
No, they don't. In fact, the one that's on,
All
yeah.
my life, this has been a problem. It has something to do with my DNA.
BBC, we need to invest in better stickers.
You know, we have 2 programs scheduled, probably a third, some I just put together. The one in July 27th, is something Todd put together.
Okay.
And I'm going to forget the name of the woman, but it's a French woman.
Oh, Marta Cohn.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
Right. And haven't researched her story yet.
Right.
She's coming on and she basically is just going to tell her story.
Great.
Right. For an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
She was a French woman in the resistance, I believe.
Yeah.
Is her story.
Yeah, and she would go cross border and be a spy right into Germany.
I think that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I haven't, I still work for a living too. So
You recently retired though too, right?
Semi-retired.
Semi-retired.
Semi-retired. Still
Right.
work half time.
Yeah, yeah.
So my MO is towards the end of the month, I don't have too much work to do, and that's when I dig into the BBC stuff. And then in August, for the August 20-something show, I don't know the date exactly.
Yeah.
Todd has lined up these experts on Guadalcanal in Australia.
Right. Yeah.
Right, who has gone to the battlefield many, many times, and I believe they're looking for the missing in action there.
Okay.
As I recall.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So again, Todd and I have a big phone call with them next week,
Right.
to lay the program all out.
Right.
But a bit of knowledge I've gained, it really sounds like some fascinating people, all of them Aussies, that have been working on this for a long time.
Right. And Ellie, if you could put the links to both of those programs in the chat for Facebook and YouTube,
Absolutely.
People will be able to register for them or just know more information about them. Glenn, you're also not a veteran, am I right?
No, not a veteran.
So where did
Army brat?
Okay, yeah. So is that where the passion for veteran stories came from?
I would guess so. As a lot of people on the BBC know, my mom, who's still alive at 101, is a Pearl Harbor survivor, if you will. Right. She was a civilian working at Pearl Harbor Hospital. And so, we always heard her story. And then her last, 10 or 15 years, people invited her to go tell her story.
Is us.
So I would go with her, 85, 90 at the time, and help her tell her story.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would put it into context about, how Pearl Harbor came about, the history of it, and what actually happened. So that was one thing. And then my 4 uncles were all in World War II.
Yep.
My father was at home on the farm, too young to go. And so I always heard their stories growing up. Right. Then I was a Army brat, born in Fort Lee, Virginia, and then for 15 years. Forts, in my youth.
And I know that you're a big reader, Glenn. So do you have any books that you would recommend right now that you are reading or currently have read?
Well, geez. So I'll go with the book that we're going to present the author in September.
Okay.
It's called Marshall and His Generals by Professor Stephen Taaffe, Taaffe. And I interviewed him just the other day on Zoom. He agreed to come on. Yes, it's going to be a problem. I interviewed him just the other day. He agreed to come on the September program, a date to be determined, but towards the second half of September. He's a professor down at Stephen Austin University in Texas. Very bright guy. He's written several books. And this one is about how Marshall chose and why Marshall chose the generals that were then the commanding generals of the U.S. Army during World War II.
Yeah.
So there were only 30, I think I have this number right, 38 senior commanders of the U.S. Army during World War II that commanded the Army groups, the field armies, and the Corps. And that's what he's focused on.
Oh, wow.
It's we kind of got to do it, hopefully with some fun, sort of get people to rate their generals,
Oh, yeah.
Who were your top 5 generals among those 38 men?
Right.
For World War II.
Other than like Patton and Eisenhower.
Well, they're included in it because they're the obvious names.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Right.
And what I like about it is half the names, probably 3/4 of the names, are buried to history. People won't recognize them or know them that don't study World War II all the time.
I'm really excited for that because I could probably only name Patton and Eisenhower and MacArthur.
MacArthur.
Yeah.
Pacific.
So like the top 3 that I know, but
Yeah.
yeah, knowing other ones, it'd be a little more.
Bradley, Hodges, Ridgway, who's from Pittsburgh.
Okay, Ridgway.
Commanded the Airborne Corps after the 82nd Airborne Division.
Right.
Then went on to great fame in Korea.
Uh-huh.
So when you hear some of the names, once in a while you say, oh yeah, I remember that name.
Yes.
But some, like how many people can name the commanders of the 2 field armies under MacArthur in the Pacific? Virtually nobody.
Right.
Unless you're a nerd.
Well, that'll be fun
And
trivia
I'm a
then.
nerd,
For the Not a problem being a nerd. Well, enjoy this event today, Glenn. It's great talking with you. If any questions pop up, Ellie, in the chat for both Facebook or YouTube, you let me know.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Great.
Wherever you are, I really would like to be there. The background looks beautiful there.
Oh yes, How Long Bay.
How Long Bay?
How long back?
Yeah.
In Vietnam.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ellie is beaming to us from Chicago. We'll continue walking around here before the start of the event. People are going to be eating, so we'll hopefully talk to some people while they eat. That'll be fun. Yeah, exactly.
Sounds great.
Enjoy, Glenn. Good seeing you. All right. How is the stream looking, Ellie?
It's looking good. You got that mic nice and close to whoever's speaking, which makes sure we can hear them. So that's good.
That's my brother John there. And I think you might recognize the woman.
Mariko?
Yeah. So my brother John has a journal that he found 20-some years ago, given to him from somebody, an American family soldier who had served in Saipan.
Yeah.
And the journal is of a Japanese soldier in Saipan.
Okay.
And she's proving to be very helpful in helping John identify who it might be. Looks like they're breaking up.
Oh, fantastic. I'll go over.
Ask John.
Will do. Thank you. I want to come over and ask you a question or two. So I'm Sean, Director of Programming. Yes, we met online. We did, yes. And so what we're doing is a little bit of a hybrid model today. So we're going to do the in-person, and we're also beaming on YouTube and Zoom. You may remember Ellie here. So Mariko, what brought you to the event, and what is the business that you're trying to do?
Okay, so I met this gentleman from White Oak, Pennsylvania, that he mentioned to me. I've known him a couple of years already, and this March, he sent me an email saying he's looking for a Japanese family with this photograph, and he sent me the photograph of these. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
One of them. And so I said, okay, I can help you with that, and we started working on looking for the family in Japan.
Yeah.
And so far, because I'm a journalist, so far I've contacted the Japanese major newspaper, the major television. So one of the newspapers back in late May, and Huffington Post Japan also did the story, and Stars and Stripes also contacted him.
Nice.
Yeah, and the major TV networks, one of the major ones, one out of 4 major networks in Japan, they are also doing the story in August, right after the Olympics. So,
Oh, great.
yeah, for nationwide.
Yeah.
So that they can.
That'll get a lot of press then.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason why I'm here to interview David. David is the name of the person who asked me to look for the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's
So you're going to be here in Pittsburgh for a time? Yeah.
Time until Friday.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you along for the ride today for our first in-person. John, so you had some Japanese artifacts that you were looking to?
I've waited over 20 years to meet this young lady.
Yeah.
And she's done a lot of work with this diary that I have, Japanese diary. And we're trying to find the family that this belongs to. And so hopefully with her work, we can do that.
Great. So how did you come into possession of the diary?
My wife's friend, her father was a Marine in Saipan.
Okay.
And when he passed away, he gave his daughter a bunch of Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things was his diary.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a diary. To me, it was just a black book.
Okay.
And I threw it in my drawer. I kept it there for about 3 or 4 months. And I said, well, let me see what's up with this. And it's in Japanese writing. And I found out it was a diary.
Yeah.
Of a Japanese soldier. And so I wrote to a lot of people. I wrote to the Japanese embassy. I sent them copies. I sent a letter to Senator Inouye when he was alive.
Yeah.
And but no help there. So I just kept plugging along, trying to find somebody to help me to find a family.
Right.
And Todd got a hold of her, and she got hold of me, and she has copies of the diary, and so she's trying to find the family this belongs to.
I am in contact with the National History Museum in Japan, so they are working on translating the book, the diary, right now, and they have so far found that this person is from a certain school, maybe artillery school, and we have some dates with the year, so we may be able to locate that person.
That's incredible. Now, a question: if the family, like the ancestors, if they no longer are around, where would the diary end up? Would it go to a museum, or how would it be?
That's something I'm also in contact with the Families Association in Japan, so they may be able to either keep it as a memorabilia, or there's also a system that we can, dedicate whether the pictures or diaries or something memorabilia to the shrine that keeps all the deceased soldiers' belongings to the shrine as a dedication.
That's great. Well, I hope it all works out.
Yeah.
Definitely, you'll have to keep us updated,
Oh, we will.
whether online or in person. Yeah,
Definitely let Todd know. That's for sure.
of course, definitely. Thank you both. Enjoy the event today. We'll talk with you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Amazing work she's doing there.
Yeah, incredible work. Did I hear someone pop into the Zoom room?
Yeah, we have Eric here, Eric Gillard with us here.
Hi, Eric. How are you doing today?
I think
I
he's
am
just
on speaker view.
I think he's just tuning in, just to watch.
That's great. Eric, it's great to have you here in the room. We've been going around chatting with some of the veterans here at the in-person event. We're getting a little bit of sprinkles, so I'm staying under the tent. But we're going to continue going around and just chatting with people. Any questions that you might have, throw them in the chat. Ellie will let me know, and I'll make sure to ask them here live. Let me know if you experience any technical difficulties.
Sounds
The
good. Oh,
Gowers?
there's the Gowers.
Hello.
And how is that precious?
Oh, she is wonderful. Ida Mae is speaking about my 18-month-old daughter, Avi, who is at home and enjoying time today, just running around like normal. Yeah.
She's healthy and happy.
She is, and we've Ida Mae sent us and Dale sent us a beautiful little Coast Guard bear that we call Coasty, and she knows all of her stuffed animals by name. So Coasty is yeah, and he salutes her, so she's learning that. But yeah, we're trying a sort of hybrid model today. I'm trying to learn how to use a camera while using a mic. So Eric is tuning in, and a couple people on Facebook and YouTube as well. But we figured, hey, why not while doing the in-person, let's try to do a bit of a hybrid as well. So we're going around interviewing a bit on this, and then once we start the program, we'll transition to. I'll follow Todd around. But how are you both doing today?
Good. We're doing fine.
Yeah.
Glad to be outside.
I was gonna say, how does it feel coming back to in person?
Well, when you live in the middle of
Hold that mic a little closer.
abnormal
Yep.
times.
Right.
Yeah.
Ellie, let me know that I need to hold the mic a little closer. I say this is my makeup brush because it looks like.
I guess it does.
I thought some poor rabbit, something happened.
I know. I pulled this rabbit out of the field and now I'm using it as a mic.
Oh, poor rabbit.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, being back to in person, it's a little like jarring in a way, a little like exciting also.
We just saw the announcement that there's going to be more this year in person.
Yes, yeah, this is our first. We're hoping for 2 more per month, August, September, October through the rest of the year. Yeah, we're really excited to be back for that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Now, are you the only Coast Guard representative here today?
I don't know. I haven't seen anybody.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to say, right?
That's why he wears his advertisement so I can spot it.
Yeah, there's a few of us around. Like, I run into somebody occasionally. It's funny. I run into somebody. My first chief was Chief Parrott when I was on the cutter in Boston, and I've met 2 people in Beaver County that knows him.
Really?
Yeah. They were also in the Coast Guard, and everybody seems to know each other. But that's how the Coast Guard was.
That's how Beaver is. So,
well, yeah. After my first duty station, I never went anywhere that I didn't know someone. So
it's a small world.
Yeah.
Well, it's a small service. It is the smallest of the service.
Right.
So yeah, they cross paths.
Were you in the Coast Guard whenever you 2 met?
No,
we met before.
Yeah,
okay.
we met in chemistry class. We were seated in alphabetical order.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Any of a college.
Yeah.
Oh,
1970.
51 years ago. Yeah.
So whenever Dale decided to join the Coast Guard, what did you think?
Well,
we were fighting.
Yeah, we were fighting at that point. Yeah. We were, on and off so much. And he came and told me that he was going into the Coast Guard and could he come back to see me in 2 years? And I said, sure. And he did.
Yeah.
And actually, it was not until after he was discharged that we started dating again. But we wrote and fought in our letters.
So you fought in the letters?
Sure.
Oh, see, we got to have some of those read on.
I've destroyed most of them. So, the funniest letter he wrote to me said, don't write to me again. I'll tear up your letters before I read them. So
romantic.
Yes. He thinks that Todd should do a series on Dear John letters.
For
yes.
Valentine's Day, I think you ought to have a special Dear John.
What do you think, Ellie?
I think that's a great idea.
Great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And I guess mine was a Dear Jane letter, but
right. Yeah.
But
how much did you learn about the Coast Guard after Dale was out and you both were together?
A lot, because he wanted to, that's pretty much what it was. When we got married, all of our bath towels, I said, were monogrammed. They were actually stenciled Gower because everything in the service was. And then I had to learn the phonetic alphabet.
Oh,
and
okay. Is that something they teach you in Coast Guard phonetic alphabet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They pretty much live by that way. Yeah. And about the ships, and Dale has been gung-ho Coast Guard the whole time.
Yeah.
I have a question, Sean.
There's no expiration
Great.
date no expiration date on his enlistment, on the oaths that he took. So.
Right. Go ahead, Ellie. We have a question.
I have a question. Is the phonetic alphabet the same across all branches, or does the Coast Guard have a different phonetic alphabet?
Is the phonetic alphabet the same across all branches, or does the Coast Guard have its own?
A little bit. It's changed over the years. When I was in, I think it was pretty consistent across all branches.
Yeah.
But over the years, it changed. For instance, during World War II, hypo was for H, and it was hotel when I was there. Okay, they changed it. I don't even know what it is now since I don't keep up with it.
I think it's hotel.
Is it?
It might be hotel now.
But I think they've changed some of them. Like Q was pronounced Quebec. Because whenever you talked on the radio, we talked on the radio a lot, between the boats and things. Sometimes you had to spell things, right, in order for them to understand. Because some of the radios, they use, I don't know why they use it, but some of the radios, they said it was more efficient. They used what they call single sideband. You cut the signal in half, but it garbled, to me, it garbled the voices.
Right.
So some things you had to spell out.
So yeah, does that answer your question, Ellie?
That does. Thank you.
I think we're on speaker view. No.
That does answer it.
I'm learning how. Great.
That's all right. I don't know how to do any of it, so yeah.
Definitely.
And I'll be talking to Ellie soon. So.
Oh, fantastic.
That's great.
She looks forward to it. All right, enjoy your meal. Yeah, I'm sure I will eventually. It looks so good. We have looks like pulled pork, and it looks like chicken. Everything
Yum.
that's delicious. Yes, very. And Ellie, if there's any point where I'm putting the mic in front of the camera, or I'm too close, just speak in my ear, and
Sounds good.
we will. I'll adjust. You'll be my
Sounds
eyes
good.
and ears. I'm gonna come
Looking
around
good
here.
so far.
I'm going to give Humana some airtime here. Hello.
Awesome.
How are you? Hi, Kathy. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, like in person.
I know, right? It's very weird, but but we're doing a hybrid model today. So we're doing the in-person, but we're also streaming onto Zoom, YouTube, Facebook. But I figured you could give us your elevator Humana speech.
The elevator Humana speech is Humana loves being a sponsor for the Veterans Breakfast Club, and we love bringing you the support for caregivers that we were able to do in April virtually. And what we're doing now is Uniting to Combat Hunger. So this is our Uniting to Combat Hunger. What we're doing is we're partnering with the local VFWs. Right now we are collecting donations for the 7090 in Troy Hill. And when your VFW post or 7090 gets to $500, we give them half. And then as they resubmit, up until Humana gives away $50,000 for each post. So a lot of the posts are in a little more financial trouble than we'd like for them to be. And so it's a nice way for them to be able to continue to do their support of the community and for us to be able to help them with that. So that's what we're doing today. We will certainly probably be back, I think, we're doing the Medicare 101s again this fall. Okay, so we are doing Medicare 101s again this fall.
Which has been a great collaboration between BBC, Humana. Yeah,
has been very successful, and it's a really nice place for you guys to be able to ask your questions, so that we can help you. Also, letting you know how your veterans benefits can coordinate with your Medicare without getting in the way of changing anything that's going on with your VA benefits.
Fantastic! Thank you so much.
You are most welcome.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. It's lovely to be out. It's fun to be anywhere in person. Yay, in person.
Exactly.
Also, those of you who are smart enough to stay home and not necessarily exposing yourself, that's cool too.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy. If you get some food, it looks really delicious. How are you doing? Good. It's great to see you both.
Yes, great to be seen.
Yeah, exactly.
We're here to tell the story of Ray Custard, who was a Battle of the Bulge veteran.
Okay.
And you can see it there. My dad was, we're brother and sister. I came in from Harrisburg today to show Dad's patches. We're on a mission to help get patches that my daddy would have collected at Fort Meade in the 40s?
Yeah, late 40s.
Late 40s.
Late 40s.
He went in at Fort Meade and came out, and he helped the guys with their muster and out pay to get to either the bus station or the train. He asked him for a little money, and then he asked him for patches. These patches are his memory, his legacy. We will be getting them to Fort Indian Town Gap in their final destination, and they'll be labeled. We're working with the historian of the Gap. My dad and mom are there at the Cemetery of the Alleghenies. Dad was Patton's 3rd Armored Division, and he had met George Patton, by the way. So these patches are very precious.
And he was a part of 10th Mountain?
No, he was
infantry division.
Yeah, he was Acorn Division, the Battle of the Bulge.
Okay.
Yes.
And these are a lot of patches. Can you describe some of them to me?
This is the 10th Mountain, which is still active. Let's see what else is there. 28th Division. That's Pennsylvania Division.
Yep.
This is the European. That's the division from Texas. I believe this is a Pacific tax. Where's the one out first? This is the one out first, closer to the front. Yeah. This is the one out first, Airborne Division.
Right. These were all his?
He collected all these, yeah.
So and he got them. He had a little racket going on. They got a Jeep, or a car, I should say, a vehicle, and he was real industrious. They didn't have money and batteries and tires, so he used the Army's resources at the motor pool. Had a little scammer going on there, and this is Pennsylvania division. I know
We
that.
were joking. I was joking. I called him in Kelly's Heroes, the character played by Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
My
like
father
Forrest
was-
Gump, Sean. He met Patton in a foxhole and was given some liberty.
Of course,
through
there's the
Patton.
Big Red One, the first division.
Yep.
First division, yeah.
And which is still active, I believe.
Dad went on after the military to go to Purdue University to become an electrical engineer, and had a little roommate at the time. You might have heard of him. He's kind of done a little walking in his time. His name was Neil Armstrong.
Oh yeah,
That was my.
he's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, right.
Dad would like slide
Yeah.
these things in as we got older. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, kids, before I die, I should tell you I knew Neil Armstrong. By the way.
And the joke with him is a lot of people don't know this. It's not in any. He played the French horn.
Yeah, Neil
Very
Armstrong.
poorly, but he played the French horn.
I play everything really poorly. So.
So that's some of Dad's story, his legacy, Sean, and we're here to support his life.
That's fantastic.
People see the collection. And
That's-
it's a pretty good one.
It's very good. Can you describe some of the medals he had?
Well, most of these are European service medals of various kinds, time overseas. This is his
Can you see those, Ellie?
Star.
Yeah,
He was,
Yeah.
he was a Bronze Star. He had his CIB, which meant he was 90 days in the line.
Yeah.
And he got that. He was real proud of that because field artillery, he was in the field artillery, and the field artillery could get a CIB, but the heavy artillery couldn't.
Really? Was there a reason why?
Well, the field artillery rode with up front with the division. They had smaller guns, and they were literally up front. In fact, Dad had a story about near the end of the war, they were coming onto a town in Germany, and they had a surrender flag out. Politically incorrect about to happen. His captain got his Jeep and started driving. They got about 100 yards and the bullet went through the windshield. He turned around and he got in front of his guys and said, "Remember the guns."
Yeah.
And they lined them up and they flattened.
Wow. Wow.
They flattened the village, and then he says, "Okay, limber the guns up," and then they go.
Right.
He says, but they were right up front with the thing because they were such short range. Them and the 4.2 mortars.
How long was he in the? Maybe this is a dumb question, but how long was he in the Battle of the Bulge? He was
He spent over 90 days in the line.
90 days in the line during the Battle of the Bulge. Wow.
The only injury, Sean, was I'm a nurse. I registered nurse for 40 years. I always thank him for coming home and making me and my two brothers. And I went on to become almost Clara Barton of the operating room for years. Took care of a lot of folks.
Yeah.
But I know Dad used to say my only injury was frostbite. It's pretty amazing.
That is.
Past the 96 and a half years old.
90s.
Ordering CVS medications 2 days before he died.
Wow.
Online. He was sharp.
Yeah.
He was sharp as a tack.
Right.
When he was retired, Westinghouse was still a big deal. And he was director of division assistance. He coordinated the computers for the whole corporation.
Well, thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for
taking the time.
Of course. Yeah. We'll hope to see you at another event.
Yes, I came in from Harrisburg for this one. So.
Well, this one is our first in 16 months or so. Yeah. So happy to have you both here. Thank you.
Yes, every one of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, Roger. You're here with the Veteran Signature Quilt Project?
That's my wife's project, yes.
Your wife's project? Are these the quilts?
That is the Vietnam signature quilt.
Vietnam signature quilt here. And the this is Korea.
And World War II.
And World War II.
And that's post-Vietnam.
Wow.
And this is post-Vietnam.
And you can see everyone has signed them, put their information on it. She works it into the quilt, and then when it's all done, she'll display it to the Vickery Mansion, the Beaver County Historical Society.
In the Beaver County Historical Society, that's where they'll be displayed. Are they going to be framed?
I don't know. I don't know what the plan is.
Okay. Is she here today?
Yes, she just went to find food.
It's a good thing to do, right? Yeah. We'll take a close look up at these, Ellie.
Wow.
People might see, they say Larry Guggen's name, John Kroll. A lot of these are VBC veterans, a part of our network.
Yeah. A great project.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Roger, for coming. Hopefully you guys get a couple more signatures out of today. Oh, see, we already got a few more.
Excellent.
A few more for the Vietnam quilt. Richard Silk and Rick Arisman. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Roger. How are we doing online there, Ellie?
Looking good. We got about 4 people watching with us on Facebook right now.
Wonderful.
Yeah, looking great.
So I'm going to show here that we also have the VBC store, hats, books, shirts. These are all available on the VBC website, veteransbreakfastclub.org. If you would like. This is also our VBC magazine. For those of you online that may be new to VBC for the first time, this is our last magazine that came out. All you have to do is sign up online and you will receive this at your home. It's a very well put together magazine by Todd and Ellie and myself. So our next issue will be coming out very soon. And I think actually, Ellie, is it going to double the size of this particular magazine?
Yeah, not quite double, but I know we'll definitely have more stories and a couple more pages in there for you.
So if you want these in your mailbox, definitely sign up on our website. We're going to keep going around here. I'm going to double check our battery for our iPad.
Smart idea.
Here we are. Oh, not bad. That's great. 86%. Since this is a new thing that we are trying to do with the hybrid model, we don't want to run out of battery while we're walking around talking to everybody. So we just have to keep an eye on it all. But let's spin it around here. It's a beautiful day. A little hot, but not bad.
Wow, it really is.
I'm going to come around and talk to Chris Barolo. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We're doing a little bit of a hybrid model. So we're doing in person, but we're also doing online. So we have the Zoom room open.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
And we have it up. Ellie DiPastino, she says, hi, Chris.
Ellie, hello. Good to see you. Good to hear from you.
She's working the back end.
Good. No, she's our technical support.
Yes, technical. Yeah.
She's very good at it too.
Yeah.
It's nice to be out here in person and see everybody and get the dynamic of the room, so to speak.
Right.
And that's something we've been missing for 16, 17 months now.
Crazy how time has gone so fast, but really, I was gonna ask that. How does it feel being back in person?
It feels like we haven't been outdoors before that I recall, but being with everybody, getting a chance to shake hands, the displays, the vendors, it feels like it used to. And hopefully we're going to do this again and again as we go forward.
That's the plan.
Plus the new technology.
Exactly. Yeah, we thought this might be a good day for us to test this new hybrid model. And I think it's going well so far. At least Ellie hasn't given me any red flags, so that's a good thing.
Myself in the monitor there, and I'm regretting it.
I'm going to hold a mirror up to everybody. That's as we all sweat in the sun.
But anyway, for the Navy, we're happy to be aboard.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, Chris. Great seeing you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Larry Guggens. We're doing online and in person. Todd? Well, Ellie probably had a hand in that. The pink pants. We're gonna. I don't know if Ellie, if the audience can see Todd's pink pants from this angle.
Oh, a little bit, a little bit.
Ellie wouldn't have done that. His wife wouldn't have done that. So I blamed you. I said you probably should try.
Todd asked me what he should wear today. I said, if you have pink pants, go with pink pants. Yeah. How have you been, Larry?
Good. Thanks the other night for that interview with
Yeah, it was great seeing you guys reconnect.
We talked that earlier that day.
Yeah.
And talked about the things that we can't talk about.
Totally.
But,
Well, it looked like you guys didn't miss a beat, so that was,
no,
nice.
we're still pretty tight.
Totally.
And we will be more now that you got us together.
Yeah. That's great. Yes, that's the name of the game, is just reconnecting everybody and getting them all together. Totally. Yeah. Here comes Todd with his pink pants.
Hello. Hey, I just heard that Don Nimchek decided not to attend because he thought this was too far from where he lives. And Don, I understand that you're listening right now. So I want to tell you that Deborah Benura and I, we just thought we'd give you a little grief. We think that it was plenty close. We've had people from Plum Borough, from Verona drive to get here. So Don, I'm sorry, you should have made it.
Hopefully for the next one.
Hopefully for the next one, yeah. And we'll get the program started really in a few minutes. I think we have the last few people through the food line, and a lot of people are done eating. And so I thought we'd start the program. And it's our programs are a little kind of like we have them on Zoom. They're not scripted, but we have an agenda, but there's a lot of room in the agenda for extemporaneous and spontaneity. So I'll go around to some of the veterans and have them share stories. And of course we'll have some I'll thank the people who made this possible, and then we have a lot of people who have things to share. People from the VA, people from different nonprofits. And I know they want to get their story or their services out there. Here goes.
Here's trouble.
Here you go. Definitely here's trouble. Yeah. When are we doing the flag? Right when we start, which is in about 5 minutes.
Because two of us are going to hold the flag. Okay. I'll make sure I leave my hat at the table.
We're going to start with the National Anthem. Lee Corpuley, you're going to lead us, right?
What do you want to do? Right here?
Yeah, let's do it right here.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
All right. You think we're ready?
You're going to sing for us, Lee.
Yeah, but we used an honor guard practice flag for the American flag here. We didn't bring one. So I got to get a couple of guys to open it up.
You guys are in for a show. So we'll get started here in about 5 minutes.
Sounds great. Looks like a great crowd today.
Is Don Nemchek in the room?
He was with us. I can't tell if he's with us right now. I think he was on the Facebook side here for a little bit.
Oh, fantastic. Don, it's great to have you a part of.
I said you can't go away without a little ribbing.
I'm going to step over here and talk to JR. He's manning the desk. JR.
Yes, sir.
Sir. I'm going to interrupt your meal briefly just to say hi. We're doing our hybrid model and just walking around talking to some of the veterans, and we're beaming this between Zoom and YouTube and Facebook like we normally do.
So it's going all over the world.
All over the world. First event in 16 months for the VBC in person. How's it feel to be back in person?
Oh, I really like it. The Zoom was very helpful while we were all confined. I mean, lots of good stories, and people missed a lot that didn't Zoom in.
Right.
But you'll never replace the personal one-on-one contact that's made here.
It's so true. Yeah, very true. How's the food?
Food's excellent. Food's excellent.
For anybody that is watching on Zoom, you're going to have to come to one of our events coming up because food is usually quite good at BBC.
Yes, it is. Just depends on where you go.
It's true. And Ellie, you're in Chicago. How much do you miss the food at BBC events?
I miss it for sure. And I miss the
I don't
camaraderie.
know why Ellie didn't come. I mean, you know, the dad should have, the director should have sent her in.
You should have flew her in. Right. Yeah, this is a good event for it.
Yeah, we'll
I'll
have
try
to
next
speak with the
time.
director. Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right, JR, thank you for manning the desk. Sounds like Todd is getting started here soon.
At least once. Andrea, thank you so much for the wonderful food. Thank you. Andrea from PJ's Deli.
Is that too loud, Ellie?
Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, that is perfect to get right next to that speaker.
We are going to start the program, and we always like, remember our breakfast, we always like to start with the National Anthem, and we have Lee Corfield here to lead us. We also have a flag. Where did this flag come from?
I'm part of the honor guard, and unfortunately, we've got to bring a flag with us today, so I keep one in the truck at all times for practices. Sometimes I run into guys and they want to learn how to practice. So we're going to use that today. I've got 2 volunteers to hold it up. Are we ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay, folks, everybody up. If you get up, you don't have to get up if you have to. Yeah. Oh, take and easy by the dawn's early light, while so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleam, through cross stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch, were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you so much, Lee. Thank you all. Hey, just want to let you know, once again, I'm Todd. This is the Veterans Breakfast Club, and we've been around since 2008 holding veteran storytelling programs like the one we're doing today.
How's that sound, Ellie?
And of course, we
Sounding
couldn't do
great.
them last year, so we did them all online. And, you know, there was good and bad. I think my estimate was fewer than half of the people who attended our events in person were able or willing to attend on Zoom, you know, or watch on Facebook Live. But we've got about 1,000 people from around the country join us. And so we decided that going forward from here now, we're going to do in-person events and online events both. So we're getting our fall events scheduled together, and we're going to keep our online events going. This one is streaming. Hello there, Internet.
Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
And this is kind of an experiment to see how this goes, how a hybrid event might go, where we may be able to bring, you know, a special guest on a screen into a room and interact with them. So we're gonna kind of create it as we go. But this is our first event back in person since March of last year. And this is really the result, and it's so hard for me to say this. It's so hard for me to give credit to Jerry Fisher. But I really have to, because he bugged me and called me, Jerry, could you come over here, please? He kept on bugging me. Well, I want to do a picnic. I want to do a picnic. Let's do a picnic. I got a place. I got the food. You know, and so what am I going to say? No? No, Jerry does not know the word no. I mean, he's the kind of guy where I think if you live in Beaver County and you see Jerry coming, you walk the other way. Because, you know, is that a good introduction, Jerry? Run, no, but in all seriousness, I have to thank Jerry for giving me a kick in the pants to get this scheduled, for doing all the legwork. for really doing all the legwork. I mean, he was here long before I was here, helping with getting the tents up, the tables out, the chairs up, for making sure we had food. You helped with the sponsors, and Jerry, thank you so much for kind of leading us to this event.
Checks in the mail.
And I wanted to say also, and I want you to add a few more words. Jerry worked on this. I worked on this. Veterans Breakfast Club worked on this. We had sponsors, but the other partner that made this absolutely possible is Brighton Township. And we have Brian DeHart here, who's our township manager, Brighton Township. We have Matt Piccarilli, who's a friend of the Veterans Breakfast Club, and he's on the Board of Supervisors, the vice chair of the Board of Supervisors here at Brighton Township. They are responsible for the tent and the chairs and the tables. Jerry, I know you have something to add.
Well, yes, I just was overwhelmed when Brian called me and told me he was going to take care of this tent. I didn't know what was coming, but we would have had a tent, but this is fantastic. But the only thing that, if I start walking around and you see me with an empty hat, I need contributions, because Brian said he's going to put a lien on my property tax. So, it's either that or I go to the old folks home. I don't know. You're not there already? No, not there yet. But yes, it's great to see everybody. I'm glad that Todd went along with the idea that we come out here. This is absolutely gorgeous facility that the township has. And I'm glad to see everybody. A lot of faces I know, but I don't know, of course. How much time do I got? Is the hook ready? I'll keep going. Well, we have some tents over here. Please stop and see our little displays, various things. Oh, okay. But my wife and I have been involved with a bus trips to Washington, D.C. for veterans. We started with W-2s only, getting a little hard to find them. We moved into the Korean era, and now we're taking anybody with a service prior to May of '75, free bus trip to Washington, D.C. It's veterans only. We suspended, of course, last year, but we are right now. We've got some flyers over there that West Banco Bank has printed up for me. Either the 6th or the 7th of October will be our next trip. That's what we're planning. I got something new to see in Washington, and I got to work some details out. So yeah, if you're in that category, stop over, at least get a flyer and a phone number. The other thing that we've come up with is this year is the 80th anniversary for the attack on Pearl Harbor. And that hit me last January. I said, I'm going to Hawaii. And my wife looked at me like I was crazy. And she said, well, okay. I said, well, why don't we organize a group? So right now, we've got about 20 people signed up to go. If anybody else that's here that has an interest in going, it's right now, it's still not in stone, but it's December 2nd. We would leave in the morning, would be back the morning of the 9th. The flight over and back and 6 days, 6 nights in a hotel, $1,630. And the rest of it, of course, you're on your own. Still a few details to work out, but my travel lady is going to town on it. So to say, if anybody's interested, stop over. All we want your email. We'll send you the updates. Did it?
No, you said you were going to go around. I did. Oh, you did?
Yeah. That was my humor.
Okay. All right.
The lien on my taxes, my tax bill.
Thank you very much, Jerry. I appreciate it. I'm on my way to see Kathy Lawson at Humana over there, the Humana tent. She's one of our sponsors. But before I get there, I do want to say that we have 4 World War II veterans with us today. The 3 are at this table. Guy Presti is 99 years old. Isla Cole was a Navy wave. I will not say what her age is. But Isla Isla served in Hawaii, and she's going up on the Pearl Harbor trip. Yeah. And then we have Gene Bowser, and Gene here in 4 days turns 95 years old. And Gene, is this the, what do you call this jersey? What does the Navy call their?
That's the original jersey, yes, original. But what's it called?
What's it called? I mean, is it called a blouse or a jumper? What does the Navy call their?
My kid's only 95 years old. I forget.
I think it's called, you told me it was called a midi.
No, that was the underneath one.
Oh, underneath. Yeah, no, but this thing is a, somebody tell me, is it a jumper? I'm serious. Jumper. Okay, Navy jumper.
This is Navy Urzo. This is.
And what is this on your sleeve? It's an eagle.
That's a cook's rating.
A cook's rating.
So see if you look.
So were you a cook?
No.
Of course not.
I was telling the cooks what to do.
You told the cooks what to do.
Do.
And you were called a jack of the dust.
I was in this good side room where all the supplies was at. You came to use the chief, you had to pay for your food. No, it was on your paycheck, not that. All individuals were 68 cents a day at that time. That's that right.
So you fed a whole ship 68 cents a person a day.
1,800 men.
1,800 men, 68 cents a day per man.
That's the way it was logged, yes. Now, if you come in for a chief, that was taken off your paycheck, you know. I didn't see the money. That's what it was.
68 cents a day. And I remember, Gene, we're talking about Pearl Harbor, coming up the 80th anniversary in December. I remember Gene telling me a story that he remembers that day, December 7th, 1941, 80 years ago. What were you doing?
December 7th of 1941. Well, I was hauling coal for house coal. I didn't know nothing about it. We had no radios in my truck or nothing, but very little people had radios. I didn't know nothing happened, but that's.
How old were you?
That time I was probably 15 years old.
So you were 15 years old, and he said that he was delivering coal in a coal truck. Should you have been driving at age 15?
No, but I was. I took the cushions off my mother. I was overstuffed chair to sell, so I could reach my pedals.
You put something on the pedals so that you'll be able to reach the pedals. And he said you didn't have a radio at home?
No.
Did you have?
They might have had one home, but I'm not at home now. I'm not on route selling Newport.
But somebody told you on your route that Pearl Harbor had been attacked.
Yeah, somebody told me.
Can I ask you, Gene, did you have like an outhouse in your home growing up?
I was equivalent. I had a bathroom.
You had a bathroom, okay. I'm just asking. I just remember. Yeah, it's just stunning to think back 80 years ago. You're a 15-year-old kid delivering coal.
When I visited my grandparents, there was an outside river.
Okay.
But when home, we had inside.
What was the name of the ship you were on?
USS Bremerton, the heavy cruiser.
USS Bremerton, heavy cruiser. Where all did you cruise?
Just in the Atlantic. In a cruise, we had two of them, and we didn't move. Our big shop captain was on the ship. He ain't getting up there. He didn't pull a slide. He stayed back there, tell him what to do.
All right, Gene Bowser. Oh, we have a card for you. This is a birthday card. Thank you, Jerry. Once again, I have to thank Jerry. Jerry Jerry went around and got people to sign a birthday card for Eugene. Should we sing happy birthday?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gene. Happy birthday to you.
Wonderful. The thing on your shoulder was called a crow.
He's a petty officer.
Petty officer. Hey, Jack Morrow, how are you? I'm fine. You're a World War II veteran.
Yes,
How old are you?
60 or 95.
Your older brother was in the Navy. He was a graduate of the Naval Academy.
Yes.
Why didn't you join the Navy also?
Well, I was planning on doing it when I took the train from Ketchling down to Pittsburgh. That in order to get to the Navy in the center was upstairs, I think, in the old post office building. And to go up those stairs, I had to walk past this door. It said the Marine Corps. And I went in and I never came out again.
And you went to Paris Island for boot camp?
Oh, naturally.
Was that a fun time?
Oh, yeah. How do you describe fun?
But you made it through.
Yeah.
And then where were you sent?
Then I went to Camp Lejeune to training to be a radar operator.
An air radar operator.
Just radar.
Oh, radar.
Well, they were for scouting for airplanes up in the air, yes. So that was it.
And then you were then shipped to Okinawa.
No, I shipped from there. That was 44. I shipped from there through the canal up to Hawaii.
Okay.
And I was out in Hawaii for a couple of months. Then I was over in Kauai for about a couple of months more, where I joined my unit, the 5th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion. And from there, then we went to Okinawa. Now, we didn't get there in the early phases, probably about a month later when our units got there. But there was still some fighting going on. So I was never in any danger of that fort because I was somewhat, distant from the front lines. But we didn't get too much information on the radar because at that time the Japanese decided they weren't getting anywhere with the airfield, so they started the kamikazes on the ships out at sea. So we didn't have a whole lot to do for a while.
Were you on Okinawa when you heard the war had ended?
Yes.
What was that like?
Rather a good celebration. I don't recall. It seems to me I have in my mind something about a white airplane that was supposed to be carrying people up to Japan to talk about capitulating. But I don't know if that's just my faulty memory or what it is. That I vaguely remember that.
I remember reading about that. No, you're right.
Oh,
you're right. It was especially, Glenn, would you know? No? Especially painted airplane that was to signal you were not to fire on this plane. And it had Japanese dignitaries on who were doing part of the surrender, the pre-surrender.
If you say so, I'll believe it.
That's all. It's ringing a bell.
It's just vaguely in my mind, but I couldn't prove it one way or the other. I did see on the day we got to Okinawa that the USS Birmingham had been hit by a kamikaze bomb. And it didn't sink it, but put it disabled, didn't put it back to repair it. But I remember that one.
Do you remember coming home from the war?
Yes, very much so. The ship broke down as we were out at sea. And so we had to be towed into Tokyo Harbor. So we got a chance to see Tokyo for a couple of days till we got on the Navy ship, because the other one's a merchant marine. And so we were coming back, and just as we're nearing the United States, why somebody came up with scrub typhus on their ship, very infectious. So there we sat all these years overseas, Now when I come back, I'm sitting in the damn harbor of San Diego and I can't get there.
Under quarantine, we're familiar with that now.
Well, I was overseas for 22 months of my 30 months that I was in the service. So it was disappointing to sit out there.
And then what, did you take a train eventually from San Diego to Kittanning?
Oh no, I took a train from San Diego to Chicago to get discharged. But I decided, no, I'm not going to spend that $25 they gave me for travel expenses. I'm going to keep that money. So a friend of mine, John Mayhew, I think it was from Altoona, we decided we're going to come home.
Hitchhike.
Yeah, hitchhike. So if you recall back in those days when you had one car pulling another one to fill up your dealership, they didn't have these big trucks carrying so many. So this guy stopped and he DeSoto's. He was one car pulling another car. So he's only going as far as Fort Wayne. I said, well, we'll go that far. So we did, and we got to Fort Wayne. Just so happened when we pulled in, there was another guy doing the same thing. He going to Donora. So we got to ride right to Pittsburgh area. So saved that $25. Hey, I've been a miser for all my life. My kids will tell you that too. They always used to say I always spit needles out of my nose.
Spitting nickels out of your nose. I'll remember that one. Thank you so much, Chad.
Thank you.
We have two sponsors today, West Banco and Humana. Humana especially has been a wonderful supporter of our programs online over the past year or so.
How are we doing on sound?
They've sponsored some of our online
Sounding
events, and we've done some special events with them.
Wonderful.
And Kathy, I've seen you online several times over the past year. It's good to see you in person.
It's good to be in person. Hello to the people who are not able to be here today. But yeah, we were able to do Medicare 101. We were able to do the caregiver support event. That was particularly important. And now what we're coming to you with is VFW Post 7090 is cooperating with Humana as well as a lot of VFW posts across the country. We are sponsoring their United to Combat Hunger. If your VFW post raises over $500, we will match that by $250 for the post itself. We know that in this, or not being able to meet, not being able to rent out their halls, as well as just the 21st century, more people staying home more often, it's been a real challenge for some of the VFW posts, but they still want to be able to do their combating hunger because so many veterans at some point in their lives really need food pantries or food support. So what we're trying to do is be able to make it so that they can continue their outreach and still be able to raise some money for their posts. So if your post is able to raise $500 or more in cash, we will match that by half. So if you raise $500, we will match that by $250 up to a total of $10,000 for we will match up to $5,000. So if that's something that your VFW post wants to do, that's great. But today we are collecting for post 7090 up in Troy Hill. So if you would like to be able to donate, that's great. If you just have Medicare questions, of course, that's my job. But thank you guys so much. You guys have always been terrific.
Thank you, Kathy. And thank you also for bringing so much water. Humana brought all the bottled water, so thank you very much for that. Nicole, how are you? Nicole McCune is with the VA, with the women's program at the VA, and we were chatting a little bit here when you were at the table. You're not a veteran.
No, not a veteran, but I've worked at the VA for 26 years. So even though I'm not a veteran, it's been an honor over my entire career to serve our veterans, and then in the last year to serve our unique population of women veterans. And we serve over 7,000 women veterans, and although that only makes up 30% of our total population, women veterans is the fastest growing segment of healthcare users in the VA nationwide. So every day and national, we're getting funding for new programs and we're starting new initiatives to help our women veterans. So right now, women veterans can get care from a women's health provider. We have over 30 women's health specialty providers. We do on-site cervical and breast cancer screenings. We have on-site gynecology. We even coordinate maternity care through the community and provide maternity services, including infant life through the first 7 days of life. So there's a lot for women's veterans. So I think I have reached out to all the women veterans here and gave handouts and provided guides with resources and my phone number. So
but if people know of a veteran who might be able to, take advantage of the services that you offer, they should contact you, right?
They can contact me.
And if you can't contact Nicole because you don't have her contact information, get in touch with me and we'll put you in contact with Nicole. And I just want to say one more thing. I was talking with Nicole earlier, and what I asked, she said, I've been working with veterans since I was 19 years old, since you were a nurse, right? Still a nurse. Yeah. Once a nurse, always a nurse. But you were 19 years old, and she said, I've been working with veterans since I was 19. I just love it. And I said, why? And because, I'm not a veteran. And so I'm always curious about people like me who aren't veterans, who have just fallen in love with the veterans community and work with them. And she said, veterans are unique. I think that's really well put. That's really well put. Yeah, they're unique. I mean, they are, yeah, Jerry Fisher, you're right. I wouldn't want to work anywhere else either, but why? You and I were trying to put it towards, I don't think I've ever been successful in putting it towards what I so love about the veterans community, but can you try it?
Yeah, it's just an honor, because to serve those who served us gives you a unique sense of pride in doing your job every day.
And I always say, I mean, I get way more from the veterans than, I feel like I ever give. And it's just wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. Hey, I want to invite people to come by and stop by and look at this book. I guess you call it a scrapbook. This is Lisa and Keith, and their father was Ray Custard. You might remember him if you live in Beaver County. He's a World War II veteran, served in the 87th Infantry Division, was in the Battle of the Bulge. He used to come to our events. He died 3 years ago? 2019, so 2 years ago. And you have this wonderful scrapbook of his.
We do. My brother and I have been working on this project. Dad, by the way, my dad, I live in Harrisburg. I'm so glad he came home from the service, because he made a great little nurse. I nursed for over 40 years, and I'm still nurse navigating with an inactive license, because unless you have a nurse advocate and you're ill in this town, you got to have someone to help you. And that's what we do. But anyway, Dad came back, and one thing Dad did, he went in at Fort Meade, Maryland. Let me introduce my brother first, Keith. Keith lives local, and I'm in Harrisburg. But Dad came back to Fort Meade to be discharged. And the guys, and I think this gentleman referred to it, I guess you got a little stipend for a mustering out pay. And my dad said, for your transportation. So Dad was a little, he was a hustler, huh, Keith? He said, well, what we're going to do is my buddy and I here are going to get a little car. And the car he described as a bumblebee, black with yellow wheels. He, of course, used the Army's gas, batteries, and tires, because he didn't have any money. And he'd say, well, now we'll get you guys to the train station, gals and ladies, or to the bus depot, but you're going to give me a little cream, and then you're going to give me a little patch. And we have quite a collection here of different men that came through from the different divisions, and it's quite a collection. Our goal, Keith and I are doing, is Dad passed at 96 and a half East Cemetery of the Alleghenies with Mom. This will go to Fort Indian Town Gap. That's Cemetery of the Alleghenies, and we've been really working on this very hard. I have a historian up there. He's helping us identify these. We're going to get them up there. There'll be a collection in honor of Dad with his helmet, liner, and some memorabilia. He was also featured Beaver County Life. It was his last Christmas alive, 2018. I was there in December, and he was just a great guy. But he talks a little bit about the patches in the article, and these patches are precious. If you have just a minute just to remember the legacy of Ray Custard, he was an awesome guy.
As an interesting thing, Dad has the actual helmet that he wore in the Ardennes. We have it. And the liner, the whole bit.
Were you allowed to bring that home?
What that?
Were you allowed to bring your helmet home?
Evidently, well, as a sidelight, that was interesting. His division hadn't got beat up too badly in Europe. And on VE Day, he was in Sharon, Pennsylvania on his back porch because he was on his way to Japan. And no, on VJ Day, I'm sorry, VE Day, he had met a guy that was the commanding officer of the Third Army, George Patton, and that ended the war in Europe on the Champs-Élysées the night they turned the lights back on after the war. He was, I call him, he was Forrest Gump. He was always at the right place.
You asked about the helmet. I don't know that the Army would take too much to one of their soldiers saying, "Now you're going to give me one of your patches too to get out the door." I don't know if that's politically correct there. And
well, this patch collection is one of the best, if not the best, I've ever seen. And as you know, the Army, especially in World War II, had dozens and dozens and dozens of colorful patches for every unit that you could imagine. And your dad collected a lot of them. Wonderful. So give it a look. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Keith. All right. Brenda Applegate is here with Roger. Brenda, could you stand out here so people can see you a little bit? You have a veteran signature quilt project.
Yes, I do. I actually work for the Beaver County Historical Research and Landmarks Foundation, and this is one of my projects that's affiliated with them. I'm also a product of Jerry Fisher. I'm a quilter. And as I was doing research on quilts, I discovered a World War II signature quilt. Now, on that particular quilt, the ladies charged to have your name put on, your signature put on the quilt, and they used it as a fundraiser. Well, this red and white quilt over here, I replicated it. Jerry took the patches with him when he took the World War II bus trips, and we accumulated World War II signatures. Well, Jerry decided he was going to take the Korean veterans on his bus trip. Well, you can't have a Korean veteran signing a World War II quilt. So it led to the blue and white Korean. And then my Vietnam friend not happy. So you can see how large the Vietnam quilt has become. And now we'd like to represent the post-Vietnam veterans. So I do come from a long line of veterans in my family, and I feel that this is one way that we can record some of our veterans' history here in our county. There's no charge for this. We ask that any of you veterans that would like to would please come up and sign a block.
Wow.
Or if someone has been killed in action, or we can work with you to write a block in memory of them as well.
Let's make that request kind of in order. If you're a veteran and you haven't signed yet, please do sign on your way out. Right, Dick? Right. Yeah. Good. It's all right. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. I got to tell you, I'm going over to Matt Dawson here, our other sponsor, but I want to stop because I'm curious who drove the farthest to get here. And at first I thought it was the Santucci brothers. I was so happy to see Frank and Ralph Santucci, two Army veterans who served in the 1950s, Frank in Korea, and you drove all the way from Verona.
Correct.
How in the world did you find this place?
It was very hard. This is our second time here. We came here 2 weeks ago to find it. Took us.
Stand up, Frank. So you did a dry run?
Yes, we did. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I. And we came here and we drove all through Beaver County. We asked people in Beaver County where this place was at, and they didn't have an idea.
That was a not good Beaver County ice.
But it's worth it, right?
Well worth it. We thank you for starting this up again, too.
Oh, man, it's going to be so great. Yeah, Frank has been coming to our events in Penn Hills for years. And Frank, you were drafted into the Army?
Yes, I was drafted. Yeah, 2 years. And then went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and then I got discharged. I went to Korea, and then I got discharged out of Fort Meade. I heard somebody talking about Fort Meade. I got discharged out of Fort Meade also.
And you have a lot of pictures that we showed at our Penn Hills breakfast of you in Korea. What did you think of Korea, and what was your job? What did you do there?
Well, I was an ordnance parts specialist, and they gave me a nice title, but I was like a parts man, is what I was in the motor pool. And I had about 50 Jeeps and about 50 deuce and a halves. I had to keep running. And but one thing, we had Koreans working with us, and they did most of the work. And they really appreciated the help that we gave the Koreans. They were very, very appreciative of what we had over there. In fact, I got many family homes, and I volunteered to teach English to the Koreans in the school, so they could speak English, so they could get a job for the American Army.
That's neat. And you know, with your last name Santucci, you came from a big, loving family, I know, in Verona. Did you know Molly back then when you were in the Army?
Yes, I did. We got married in November, ended up in October. In November and December, I ended up in Korea. 13 months I stayed there. We were supposed to get married in April, got my draft notice, and then I left in November for Korea, and we were only married about a month before I left, and I had to go into Seattle, Washington, this place you don't want to go ever because it rains every day. And I was there for 30 days. We were waiting to get the ship, and it rained at least 18 of those days. And it was there during Veterans Day, I remember, and they said there's a big parade downtown, and I said, oh man, it's raining like this. They don't stop parades in Seattle when it's raining. They continue going. And we had a big Veterans Day parade on November 11th.
What was it like to come home finally and see Molly again?
Well, it was like getting remarried again. It was wonderful. And most of my family was still alive at that time. And we had a great celebration.
Yes. Yes, question.
Did they write letters and correspondence?
Great question, Dan Tellep. Did you write letters back and forth to each other?
Yes, we certainly did. I kept them. I kept the letters that she sent me, and I had categorized them and kept them for many years. But then when I got back home, I think she looked them over and says, let's get rid of those letters. Just one other thing I want to say. My family, like I say, they were very involved with me leaving. They wanted to make sure that I was well over there, and they kept saying during the holidays they'd send me different things. And one particular, well, not one particular, but a few holidays, they wanted to make sure I had homemade wine. So what they did is they hollowed out a loaf of bread. And put the homemade wine bottle in there. And then they wrapped it, and then they put it in a tin can, and then they wrapped that up, and I did get the wine, and I got everything else that came with it.
Got a bottle of wine and half a loaf of bread too.
Yeah, right.
I know, only Italians would do something like that.
And then in the Korea, when you get to be about a month before you come home, they give you free booze. That was this particular outfit that I was in, and you got to wear the Royal Crown ribbon on your cap. That way, everybody knew you were a short timer.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Molly. And Molly, I will not ask what was in those letters. Okay, all right. Deborah Benura, I think you might have beaten the Santucci's with the farthest. Could you stand up, Deborah? Deborah, you drove all the way from Plum Borough?
Plum Borough, which is very close to Verona. Hello, neighbors. I have to chime in and say that I resemble that Italian remark. And my mother actually sent my dad, who was a Gold Star Korean war brother, and she sent him a bottle of Seagram 7 and a loaf of bread. And I want to read those letters.
But Deborah, I want to have you to talk because you're an Army veteran yourself, right? When did you join the Army? And you had such an interesting job.
I joined the Army in 1985. First, I was a reservist, and I was a broadcast journalist in the service. I worked for an outfit called Hometown News. If anyone ever did an interview with Army and Air Force Hometown News Service, that's what I was with. And my job basically was to look over the world and see what was happening, what all 4 branches of the military were doing as they interacted with other countries, and then develop a story that will have now have a national news tie, because our product went out commercially in the United States. So I'd pitch the story, I'd find a story and I'd want to do it. I'd pitch it to the major and then write up a budget and everything. We went out, just a 3-person team, and would arrive on site and do electronic news gathering. In other words, if there was an operation happening or a lot of humanitarian relief efforts that we did, we would shoot all of our B-roll and video, and then I would interview as many of the people involved as I could. And real quickly, what we did was do a story that we called a donut. We wrote a story around the event and then left a hole in the middle to insert that interview. And then we would ship it off to that soldier or airman's hometown for them to air on the local news. So yeah. And another thing we did were those holiday greetings. I know you've seen them, right? That was every October we blitzed all these different countries and just gathered. It was like working at Video Kinder Photo, you know. But if I ever interviewed you or anybody, I love talking to veterans. I always have. I was so inspired by the interview that we did. And now today, when I've connected through, especially through the Veterans Breakfast Club, I'd love to meet you all. And I want to get around here today and do that. I like talking with veterans, especially about current events and things. I mean, is there any other population of people that have real skin in the game? Yeah. So it's a pleasure. I hope to meet you all.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Yes, Bill.
My uncle sent me a supersod.
Will you stand up? Sent you a what?
Super. You don't know what supersonic is? I thought I'm hearing it. I know what it is. Yeah. He sent it in a sock. And I'm sitting there, and there's a French Vietnamese priest that's with us. And I open the sock and I take it out, and he's looking at it. Can I have some of that? I said, no, you're not Italian.
He's a priest.
I said, I don't care. That's for me. That was amazing.
I think if a priest asks you for something, you give it to him, you know?
Not there.
All right, thank you, Bill. Matt Dawson's with West Banco, another wonderful supporter of the Veterans Breakfast Club. I don't think anybody could tell that you're a banker from what you're wearing, Matt.
It was a poor outfit choice for sure. There is a meeting after that I'm in a suit for, but I just got dressed up for you guys too. But it's not cool at all. And to your point and everybody's point, you got to get in. If I see Jerry coming to my office, I hurry up and try to get out the back as quickly as possible. But I would be remiss if he's a great guy. And thank you so much, Jerry, for helping put this together. Thank you, Brighton Township. Thanks, Todd. It's just great to be back in person, hearing the laughter. It's a great event. I myself didn't have the honor of serving. I'm from a family of veterans. Veteran causes have always been near and dear to my heart. They are to West Banco as well. I try to get out and do as much because I think the point's been made several times. You get so much more out of it than you ever put into it. And it's wonderful to be here with you all today. Like today, I learned how to smuggle booze if I ever need to go anywhere, that's tremendous. I never thought to do that. So you just never know what you're going to get out of this, but it's a wonderful event. It's just great to be back with everybody. We're West Banco. We have many local branches here in Western Pennsylvania. We're always very supportive of the cause. If we can help anybody in any way, we would love to do that. It would be our honor. Thank everyone here for their service. It's great to be back, and let's have a great day. God bless.
Thank you very much, Matt. Okay, the next person definitely gets the award for coming the furthest to this event. Her name is Mariko, and she came. Why don't you stand over here, Mariko? She came all the way from Japan via New York City. Oh, go right here. Japan's pretty far, right? Yeah, okay, halfway around the world. And Mariko, we got to meet because of an article that I read we did an online program about this, about a man named Dave Wassel, who's not here today. And David had his uncle's photographs that he got from a Japanese soldier in World War II and brought them home. And David thought, these photographs, these Japanese photographs, and some other memorabilia have been sitting around in their families' houses for, 75 years. And here are the photos. And Dave thought it would be a great thing if he could find the families in Japan that these photos belong to. Wouldn't that be something? And he connected to Mariko, who's a journalist, a Japanese journalist who's been working in New York City for 20 years now, and but does work with the Japanese, broadcast services. And Mariko and Dave started on this quest to find the family, and it's just grown. And I was so taken with the story. And over the years with working with the Veterans Breakfast Club, I've run across dozens and dozens of families who have photos just like this, presumably taken off a dead Japanese soldier or sailor, sometimes with a flag, sometimes, with a little special book, but so often with photographs of loved ones. And you look at these photos and you look at them outside of war, and you realize they were just people like anybody with families and, children and parents. And so, Mariko, do you want to talk? I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about why you're doing this project, or if you want to make an appeal to people here if they have any photos in their families that they may want to give back.
Sure. So I am here today with the cameraman. I'm trying to make a documentary film out of this because I am so fascinated with the story myself too. It was only this March that David contacted me, although we've been knowing each other for about 3 years. He finally asked me, could you, help me find the family? And the first picture that he sent me in email was this. And this really struck my heart because of the baby in the picture smiling, the kids, and even a little girl photobombing this family in the background. It looked so familiar to my own grandparents or my parents' family pictures. So I was like, they have to go home. There's gonna be a way for them to get back home to Japan. So that's why I started, this quest, I guess. Even though we published the paper, national newspaper, in late May, we still haven't had any clue. So we're broadcasting this coming August again on national TV in Japan about looking for this family. So one of the things I would like to say about the families in Japan, it's just that 2.4 million Japanese soldiers died overseas in World War II.
Okay, let's let that sink in a little bit. 2.4 million Japanese soldiers and sailors died overseas in World War II. 2.4 million. That's hard, I think, for us to imagine. We had 400,000 Americans die in World War II. 2.4 million for a country that's many times smaller than the US is an enormous number. And most of those were not repatriated. Their remains were not brought back to Japan.
That's correct. Only half of them has so far the remains or the bones were returned to the family. Well, our government, Japan, doesn't have a really meticulous system like your army or your military system. So most of the remains or anything was not returned to the Japanese family. That's why still more than 1 million family members
are still without any clue about their loved ones, family members. So if you can find anything like these pictures or anything that the soldier had when he was killed in the battleground, that would be a very memorable, great thing for the remaining families to have.
The war, from my understanding, and Mariko, we could have a whole breakfast just about the issue of how the war is remembered or not remembered in Japan. World War II is a very difficult subject in Japan. Obviously, the country was devastated. They lost the war badly. Most, I think, Japanese don't agree with the politics that led to the imperialism behind the Japanese war effort. So it's a fraught issue that's hard to even bring up to talk about. And so my understanding is families have not been able to get closure or get, remember the war and their loved ones' roles in it because it's so politically difficult to even talk about. Is that right?
That's correct. That's why I'm not from the family where any of my immediate family members went to war, so I didn't really know about this story. So and yeah, that's right. I started talking to some members of family whose father or grandfather went to the war, and they say sometimes that they were so ashamed of what they did in the battleground, so they don't want to talk about it. So yeah.
I just have to say I've talked with through an interpreter with a Japanese soldier or two, and man, when I say that like they did not want to talk about it, I mean they would not talk to me at all. And same thing with many German vets, to be able to talk a little bit, but they would never come to a breakfast and tell their story. And I just think that there's something sad about that. And also I think that this is a way maybe to connect to families, to begin to have that conversation with families about what their loved ones did in the war. That we could all kind of relate to, you could all relate to these family photos. So I will just ask, if any of you have any of these kind of photos in the family. I know one of our veterans has a flag, for example. Flags, some of you may have seen the Japanese flags with writings on them. Can you tell us a little bit about those flags? A lot of Japanese soldiers carried them.
Yes, they're called good luck flags that only the immediate family members or good friends, relatives would sign them, wish them luck on the battlefield. So they usually have names on it, and also maybe even the area or township that they are from. So it's probably much easier for us to find the exact family. There is a organization I think in Oregon. It's called Obon Society. So they take care of the flags. If you have any flags, send it to them, and they will find the family. I didn't have any name, so Mr. Wassel, David Wassel, and myself contacted Japanese government to look for the family, but the government says since there's no names, we can't help you guys. So that's why we are on our own. That's why we started doing this documentary film project, just to raise money for us to, look for the family. So, yeah.
And I just told Mariko that the Veterans Breakfast Club would be happy and proud to cooperate in the making of the documentary, however we can. And also, I imagine gosh, that's what the internet is for. Put the pictures up so that people can scroll through and say, oh, I know them. And it'll happen. There'll be a connection eventually. The internet is used for such horrible stuff, social media, but this is exactly what it's made for. John Barber, could you stand up, John? Just because you have that book. Can you come here? You're a Marine, but you're not that loud. John, you have a wonderful diary, right, of a Japanese sailor or soldier?
A soldier. I've been waiting over 20 years to meet this young lady here. And I have a diary of
soldier. He was in the artillery school, and he got pulled out of artillery school to go to the field to fight. And I believe in the diary, he says he's talking to his parents. He's writing to his parents saying that he's afraid he might die because he won't be able to take care of his mother and father. And I just found out that he has 2 brothers and a sister, 2 sisters. So she's helping me find this family. I wrote a letter to Senator Inouye from Hawaii about, I don't know, 12 years ago, and he has passed now. I got a letter back saying that the Japanese don't want to be reminded of the war. Forget about it. Don't do anything. Well, I kept going. I wrote to Tom Hanks, and she's going to help me with that. And so hopefully we'll find the family that this book belongs to.
So I'm in contact with the National History Museum in Japan. So they are the one who has looked at the, John's notebooks and found out more about. I didn't do it myself. Those academics did that back in Japan, and find the family names, and looking for the family names. And just like he says, this gentleman was so worried about his parents. And also he was the youngest child of the family. So he was so appreciative of the parents' love. Usually youngest boy gets the most love out of the parents.
Really? That explains my family. I didn't get any love. Okay, I get that now.
Yeah. So we are also teamed with the National Archives in Japan to look for any of the files, military files in Japan, to look for the family members. So let's hope this is gonna finally find the family for John.
The way I got this book, my wife is friends with this young lady, and her father was in Saipan, and he had this black book, and he gave it to his daughter, and when he passed, the daughter gave it to me, and I threw it in my drawer, and I kept it there for 6 months, 7 months. And I finally looked at it, and it was all in Japanese. And I had a couple of interpreters look at it, but they couldn't help me. And I still have the pencil. The pencil is still stuck in the book. So hopefully we'll eventually find it.
My understanding is it's written in a kind of a more formal classical Japanese.
And also he's very, very intelligent person that I'm sure he went to the elite school. So he was quoting a lot of classic Japanese poems. Yeah, it was very, very nice.
John Barber was a Vietnam Marine, served 18 months in Vietnam. John, did you ever pick, I don't know, memorabilia or photos from Vietnamese soldiers?
Yeah, I did.
Do you have any of them?
No.
Was it common to bring those mementos home?
I didn't know at the time. I didn't see anybody bring any of those things home, but I was in the field and this guy was shooting at me, so I shot back and I crawled up, and his head was down. So I took his belt and had a red star on his belt, and I kept it for a long time. And then I think I gave it to my brother. My brother was in Fort Recon, but that's the only one thing I had. Yeah.
Dan Tulip, you're another Marine. Would you mind? Could you stand up and come over here and talk a little bit about it? I just want to stay away from the speakers there. We sometimes get feedback. Oh boy, 2 Marines right here. Okay, I can handle it. Here we go.
When I was in the DMZ in 1967, and I was in country about maybe 2 days and assigned to a Marine Corps Rifle Company, 1st Battalion, 9th Marines. And we had one of our companies ambushed. And that story is in the recent issue, believe it or not, of our publication. So you might want to look at the very last page because I tell the story about that. And I wrote home a letter and told my mom and dad exactly what happened to me while I was there. But the bottom line is that I'm a stamp collector. I'm called a philatelist. Does anybody want to play with philately anymore? But anyway, I collect old envelopes and letters and old envelopes. And I was collecting at that time, building a collection at the age of 23 of Confederate postal history. So I was really tuned to the American Civil War and correspondence, especially patriotic covers with flags and things like that. One of my squad leaders comes up to me and he says, "Lieutenant, we just captured a courier." He drops a mail bag in front of me. I'm in a firefight calling in F4s, trying to save my fanny and using artillery, and I'm holding envelopes of the North Vietnamese army that we just captured. B-52s being shot down by MiGs on an envelope and the letters in it. So yes, we kept that material. We sent it to G2, and unfortunately, and I've always told the story, I couldn't do one of these, open up my thing and stick a few in here. I had to send them back to G2. So that's what happened. But yes, we captured, we took, my troops took things home, flags, belts, John, things like that. Absolutely.
Has there ever been, a desire or an interest in returning anything that could be returned, especially photographs or anything personal? Because I've never heard of that happening.
Approximately 8 weeks ago, I got a phone call from a major in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. And he said, "Dan Tulip, I understand you collect North Vietnamese captured military mail." I said, "Yes, I do." Well, he took home 50 letters. And the 50 letters that he took home, I actually looked at, and here was original correspondence. The envelopes hadn't even been opened yet of captured North Vietnamese military mail, no civilian mail, going to military units deployed in the DMZ. And I was fortunate to acquire 4 of those and published an article in the Military Postal History Society Journal. It's online if you ever want to look at it. But that's the story.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you, John. Yeah.
One quick story. Really, this is not the Okinawa story. We were in Contian, and it was in the middle of the day, and we were on patrol, and we had 2 squads with us. And we decided to take a break, and it was kind of an open area. And there was a hole in the middle of this trail here that one guy could fit real nice in it in case something happened. So we took a break, everybody spread out, and all of a sudden we could hear mortars coming from, out of the tubes. And we yelled, "Incoming, incoming." And just before that, when I seen the hole, 2 of my buddies ran over there and we drew straws so you could get in the hole. So I won. And so here comes the mortars. And they were landing all around us. I jumped in the hole and the ground was shaking. And for about 10, 15 minutes, nothing but mortars. Then it stopped, everything was quiet. And then there was 3 of us in the hole. All 3 of us were in the hole. We started laughing, But I guess you got to be there.
John.
Yeah, the preface to that story about my 4 letters that I recently owned. I get my hair cut at a place called Great Cliffs up in Mount Eagle Plaza. And I was there about 9 months ago, and right next to it is a Vietnamese clinic, salon, and they have nails and things like that. So I walked in and I said, "Excuse me, is there a mamasan here?" And there was someone my age. So I gave her the 4 letters to translate. She gave me a word for word translation of each of the documents. And the sad truth of it, Todd, and the thing I continue to get reminded of is these were just normal people doing what their government said they had to do. And the mother is describing to a son deployed in South Vietnam about the terrible bombings. They were strafed and bombed in Hanoi. Their relative was killed and they just buried her. I mean, just the terrible things that were happening in Hanoi itself as the bombs. Yeah, amazing.
I think it would be you mentioned the BBC magazine, Dan, and we're putting it together the next issue, the late summer issue now. And one thing that we would like to include are these war letters. I think it would be a wonderful thing, Dan, if it would be possible to maybe translate one of those letters and publish it in our magazine. I think that would be a fascinating thing. So thank you very much, Dan Pellup. And Mariko is walking away, but I was gonna tell her that I just got a notice today from somebody in Japan at a museum in Hiroshima that they want to do a program with the Veterans Breakfast Club online. And so we're looking to do one probably in September. I will invite you to be a part of it. And it will really focus on how World War II is remembered and talked about in Japan. And we'll have families of Japanese, soldiers and sailors who are sharing. Hopefully we'll get some veterans too. We have, they have some names of veterans, and the veterans have not yet committed to being willing to be part of this program, but we hope that they will be. And Mariko, I hope that you will be too. Is there any other thing that you want to say, any other announcement you want to make or appeal you want to have before we move on? No?
I just want to, find the family first. But if you have any of the memorabilia, or your friends or someone who know have anything, just let me know, or let Todd know, so he will let me know.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mariko. Thank you so much. Oh,
Bob, when you do this event with folks from Hiroshima, you have enough drag to get PPG Paints Arena for that?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be all online, but it will. We should have a nice big crowd for it. And by the way, if any of you haven't joined us online, it is really fascinating. We've had some wonderful guests. I should say we're going to continue to do the program. A couple of weeks ago, we had Woody Williams, the only surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II. He was on sharing his story of Iwo Jima. We had the Secretary of the VA on about a month ago. Sean Hall.
Harry Stewart.
We had Harry Stewart, a Tuskegee Airman who lives in Michigan.
Francis Gary Powers.
He was wonderful sharing his story.
Francis Gary
Powers Jr. George Brown is old enough to remember who Francis Gary Powers was. But I mean, that just.
Shot Shanktown, he shot the German ace down. That gentleman.
Joe Peter Burrs, who shot down. He was an ace. Yeah, wonderful program. So join us. You can go to veteransbreakfastclub.org. I also want to tell you we are scheduling in-person events, and I know that we've scheduled one for Saturday, August 21st at Christ Church at Grove Farm, right off Mount Nebo Road, off I-79. We also have a breakfast coming up on August 28th. And then we're scheduling through at least October. So we will be publishing that schedule soon. And then finally, we decided we're going to do a trip. Last year, we had 2 trips scheduled. Of course, we could do neither of them. We're going to go to the new National Museum of the United States Army at Fort Belvoir that just opened up last year. And then we're going to do the Marine Corps Museum, overnight trip. We're going to hit both museums. I have the information with me. I put some information on the tables. So if you want to go join us, we'd love to have you. All right. Who's my next victim? Hello, the internet.
Bob McCormick's on.
Larry Googans. Where's Larry Googans? Hey, Larry. Larry is president of the BVA 862 and also of the state BVA. How are you, Larry?
Great. How you
Can you hear sound over here, Ali?
I don't really have much
Yes,
to
we
say.
can.
Everybody else, this has been
Thank
outstanding.
you.
Except to thank Todd and everyone here for what they do. Sean with his TV in front of him and what they do for Veterans Breakfast Club. I'll just say one thing, and I've told Todd this before. He says he gets more out of it than the veterans do. I disagree. We get more out of it. This brings us together. It's people just talk because they're in front of other veterans, and they'll go ahead and share their stories, which need to be out. If you don't attend the Veterans Breakfast Club in person or online, you're missing something powerful. Every one of them are outstanding. And Pete Kaczek, talk to Pete too, about what he does for the Veterans Breakfast Club and narrating them. You need to do it. You can turn on Zoom and have it on your computer, and you can just mute yourself, and you can actually mute whatever it's called, your picture, turn your video off, and you can still go about your business and just listen, which I do quite often because I get a lot of phone calls and things. I don't want to interrupt it, but you can do that. You can walk out, you can go to the bathroom, you can still hear it all. So what I'm getting at, it takes no effort. And an hour and a half plus a couple every once in a while, needless to say, everybody wants to stay on longer. Todd shuts us off. But yes, do that, because this is powerful for veterans. We need to have more. I think it is beneficial. I seldom do this, but again, I have to thank Jerry Fisher. I don't even know whether you are, Jerry. Jerry and I spend a lot of time together. I don't want to say hate love because neither one of us hate each other, but neither one of us love each other either. But we spend a lot of time together and everyone else here. So Todd, just thank you for what you do for our veterans, for the Vietnam veterans. We'd love to have you join our chapter. We are the largest chapter in the state. It costs but a mere $20, and that's only, as the word that went out earlier, skin in the game. We don't really care about the money. But you can join us for meetings. Our next meeting next month is also a picnic in industry of PA on the third Wednesday of the month. We don't have a regular meeting, just a picnic as this is. You'll be there, right? Yeah. Yeah. But if you're not a member, come to the picnic anyway. And if you don't get to do that, come to one of our meetings, third Wednesday of the month at the Rochester VFW. Just sit in. You know, you don't have to join. We don't. Just come by and meet somebody.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Ladies Auxiliary.
Huh. Yeah, that's exactly why. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have another meeting. No, we have a meeting next week. I'm sorry. My hook time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, well, the third Wednesday of the month in the Rochester VFW, and then in August we'll have our picnic. Todd, again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Larry. Hey, Ron Bagolia, why don't you come on out? And I want you, we may have other people have an announcement. This is Ron Bagolia. His grandson, Dylan Elchin, you may remember, 2.5 years ago was killed. A staff sergeant, United States Army Special Operations, killed in Afghanistan. That was your grandson. I can't believe that was 2.5 years ago.
He was in the Air Force.
What did I say? I said Army. No, Air Force. Oh my gosh. When you get old, Ron, you know. And I know that you've been working ever since to make sure that he's remembered and others who have fallen are also remembered. What are you working on now?
I joined with an organization called Legacies Alive. Legacies Alive supports Gold Star families. And one of the things they do is if a Gold Star family wants to remember their loved one somehow, they'll participate with them. And we've joined together and we're in the process of, we've got approval from 3 townships, Chippewa Township, Brighton Township, and Hopewell Township, to build a war memorial, not just for Dylan, but for the 9 men who have died since Vietnam. We want to honor all 9 of them, and we're doing it a little different. I remember hearing this song by, I can't remember, maybe the Stanley Brothers, but anyways, it's a song about the Vietnam War. And the mother says that my boy more than a name on the wall. And with that idea in mind, we wanted to make our boys more than just a name. So what we're doing is on the granite stone, we're actually going to have a photograph of the person there that's, I'm forgetting exactly what they do, but it's the weather got bothered. And we're also, because we only have 9 men who have died, thank God, and we're having 3 sites, we're going to honor 3 men at each memorial with a storyboard. The storyboard will be 2 feet wide and 1.5 feet tall. And it will be divided into 2 sections. On one side will be their civilian side. On the other side is their military side. Excuse me. And I've gotten with the families. Everybody's really supportive of the program. And they supplied me with photographs that would show their child as a baby, a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old, so that no matter who goes up there, they can identify with that person. And then a brief biography of their civilian life. And the same thing on the other side of the biography of their military life. And we're doing 3 of these at each location. And the storyboard portion is actually removable. It's made of what they call embedded fiberglass, permanent outdoor thing. And we're going to remove, these are removable, so the ones at Chippewa can move to Brighton Township the next year. Brighton Township can go to Hopewell. So if you go, no matter where you go, you're going to read a story about a different guy. Also, we're doing storyboards on the greatness of America and what our soldiers do for us. And we feel that a lot of history of the military has been lost. And honestly, I think it's been just ignored by the protector. You know, there's that saying that those who fight for freedom has a flavor that the protected will never know. And I think there's generations out here that know nothing about it. They think that the freedom comes from the government. It comes from people like us that are willing to go in harm's way.
Ron, if people want to support this effort of yours, how can they do it?
I've got a bunch of business cards here. They have our website on it. They have a contact phone number. I'm going to put them right up here by the water in the pot. If you want one, grab one. One of the other things we're doing, patio portion, is the paper bricks that, you know, you buy. Dad paper brick, he served in World War II. We want to honor those that have been killed in action. Normally the paper brick, you know, you have to buy with a donation. But we want to honor anyone who's been KIA. And it doesn't matter if it's Revolutionary War, because that guy that fought back 250 years, he bled the same blood that we bleed today. So if you have someone that you want to honor that you know has been KIA, get a hold of me through the cards, got my phone number on it, and we'll be more than glad to put their name on a brick. There's absolutely no cost involved for any KIAs.
And Ron, I see you have on your forearm here a tattoo. It says Dylan, who was killed 11/27/2018. And then it has these 2 footprints. What is the insignia or logo?
Well, Dylan was a combat controller, and a combat controller is very elite. And during the Vietnam War, the combat controllers, they would also serve as pararescues if the pararescues had too much work, we'll say. And it's said, and I don't know if this is a true story or not, but in Vietnam, one time the combat controllers showed up in a helicopter, and they were way above the jungle because they couldn't land. And one of them came down a road to get the wounded man, to get him in the stretcher so they could lift him out, whatever. And he said, when he got down there, he said, the man said, I just loved when I seen your green feet coming down. So as military people do, you know, you go to, after a day's work, you go to the village and you have 2 beers and maybe it turns into 10. And so these guys ended up getting the green feet tattooed on their rear ends, because at that time, you know, you couldn't have a tattoo if you were in the military. It was frowned upon. And so it's kind of the combat controllers and the pararescue guys, that's their kind of their emblem. And so I had it put on my arm. Everyone in my family couldn't believe it because I'm the conservative. No tattoos on me. But in honor of Dylan, and it's just a good thing. But if you can help us out, like I say, I'll leave these cards up here. Grab one if you want. If you have somebody you want to honor, we'd be thrilled to do that for you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much. And before we end the program, I'm going to welcome people to stay, hang out, check out the displays, socialize. No rush to get out of here. But before we end this part of the program, and we will get to the 50-50, I do want to make sure that we go to our senior veteran here, Guy Prestia. Guy, I think you're the senior veteran.
Yeah.
99 years old.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be part of this group. And I'm glad that it's opening up now with this virus. Everything has been shut down. And I haven't been going to the different schools to talk to the children. And I have done that for the last 30 years. But now the schools are closed down, and I miss going there to see the children, and I'm sure they try to see me because they don't learn a whole lot about World War II in the books that they have. So they would rather see somebody that was there.
And you were there. I mean, you were a member of the 45th Infantry Division. How many days were you in combat with the 45th Infantry Division?
We were in combat for 511 days. That was a period of over 3.5 years. But I stayed in another 6 months. That gave me 4 years service there. But I had detailed work with the German prisoners of war. We had been doing detailed work. So I stayed in another 6 months because my grandparents were still living in the southern part of Italy, and I wanted to visit them. And my dad left the country there when he was 18 years old to come to America to find work. So they were still alive. So during the time that I stayed in those 6 months, I had German prisoners of war working for us in different countries.
And Gene is passing over an article on you that appeared in what paper? The Beaver County Times. Recognition received. This is about your Legion of Honor.
Yeah, I had just, they sent me a letter first from France saying that they had gone over the records and they found out that I might deserve this medal. And they said, well, for the next 2 months, things may open up because their ambassador was not allowed to leave France. So finally, one word led to another, and finally they said, could we mail it to you? So I thought, well, that'd be a good idea because I didn't know how long this COVID thing was going to last. So they sent it to me, but didn't have a ceremony. So now I got information from Eric Montgomery, who's in charge of all of this, of Pontiac. So in September the 2nd of September, they're going to have a ceremony at the Soldiers and Sailors Hall in Pittsburgh. And there'll be some people.
Thank you so much for coming, Guy. Thank you, Cole. Thanks to all of you for coming today. Guy's going to hang out a little bit, and Gene and Isla, if you want to talk with them. Thank you all for coming. I forgot about the 50-50. I also want.
Todd, I want to make this statement as a witness to what I'm about to tell you. In March of last year, 2020, you had an ambitious program through the summer of in-person events, and that got slammed shut tight. And you did not lament, or retreat from your mission to tell the stories of veterans and to honor them. Instead, you adopted the technology available, and over the months, I witnessed you adapting to all the technologies you could find and just continue your mission. And with creativity, sincerity, and so much else, you and Sean and Ellie and others persevered in this mission. And we're here today now, all those months later, with the club. If there's a silver lining in anything that happened, I know in the back of your mind, you were trying to figure out how to expand beyond Western Pennsylvania. Well, what happened was this accelerated tremendously your plan. And now you say you have thousands, 1,000 around the country watching us. And now we're going to get back into in-person events. So this may be, we may be present here, privileged to be present here at the beginning of the new Breakfast Club, where we have this hybrid and we're going to share with the people all around the country, maybe the world. So I just want to say thank you for continuing your mission, finding a way to stay alive and continued success, and just plain thank you to everybody. That's all. I just wanted to say.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, please. Thank you very much, Chris. And Isla gave me a note written on a napkin that just says 2 words, Bloodmobile. There's a Bloodmobile out there. I know you're supposed to have made an appointment, but I think they're taking walk-ins. So if you have some blood you want to give, the Veterans Breakfast Club gets a donation from the Blood Foundation for every donation that's given at one of our events. So, you know, I just said, Sean, open up a vein, leave him alive. It don't take so much, you know, make sure he has enough, but count it as 2 people maybe, you know, take a lot of blood.
I don't need a whole lot.
You don't need a whole, he doesn't need a whole lot. Ed, 50-50, what do we got here?
I have 3 announcements. Number 1, this gentleman in gray, your wallet fell onto the bench. Number 2, I want to thank Clem Blazewick for his help in selling these tickets and ripping them. And third, through your generosity today, we took in $370, so the prize money will be $185, which is exactly half. I'd like our 99-year-old gentleman to pick the winning ticket.
Oh, okay, so we have 594-502. 594-502. Bruce Sumps. And then one more. Bruce Sumps, thank you. Bruce, you won.
How about 802?
No, 502, not 802. All right. One more thing, John Ferguson reminded me. John Ferguson specifically requested this the other day, and I think it's a wonderful idea. I've noticed, I went back this morning to see how many of our veterans have passed away since our last breakfast 1 year, 4 months, and 4 days ago. 87 of our veterans have died. Some of COVID, most of them of, unrelated, but 87. I was stunned. I wouldn't think that number. I mean, I think of it. Henry Parham passed away the other day. You probably saw his tribute. Joe Capone, one of our great World War II veterans from Penn Hills 104th Timberwolf Division. So John's idea was, let's have a moment of silence for those who can't be here with us today and have passed away. All right, thank you so much. And I hope to see you again. All right, take care.
What a great tribute. Great day here, BBC. Person in person, like you said, in 1 year, 4 months, 4 days. Ellie, are you still with us?
I am, yes. It was a great event. I'm so glad I could attend virtually. And I know Michael and Robert are here with us too.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Robert, for joining us virtually. And for those of you on Facebook and YouTube for the same. This is Sean Hall, Director of Programming from VBC. We're going to be signing off here, but join us coming up the next Zoom program. Let's see here. Today's Wednesday. Next one will be Monday. Am I right, Ellie?
That's correct. Yeah.
Great. We will have another Zoom program Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then we will be developing and getting ready our fall event schedule in person, as well as the online events. So take a look at veteransbreakfastclub.org for that. Looking forward to seeing you all soon.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Sean.